It's Friday, time for another weekly update. Thanks to our Information Technology Department, you can now access free public Wi-Fi at each of the county's senior center parking lots. You can pay your bills, check your email, or catch up on the happenings in Knox County. The senior centers do remain closed, so we please ask that you stay in your car while using this service. Here's an update on the COVID-19 situation in Knox County. To this point, 189 people have tested positive for COVID-19. We have 41 active cases, 144 people have recovered, 21 people have been hospitalized, and we have experienced 4 deaths. This week I released a proposal that I sent to Governor Lee with ideas about what a phased reopening of our economy could look like. Now you notice that I did not include metrics about COVID-19. The reason for that is simple. If we wait, as some people suggest, to see no new cases of COVID-19 or even a downward trend in the number of new cases, it could be months before businesses are allowed to open again. The idea behind flattening the curve was to allow hospitals to gear up to handle a surge in COVID-19 patients. Here in Knox County, only about 56% of our hospital beds are currently in use, meaning that we have a very healthy supply of beds. We have also been able to build up our supplies of PPE. In other words, we have accomplished what we were told flattening the curve was supposed to do. That doesn't mean that COVID-19 is not still a very serious issue and that we should continue to exercise personal responsibility, and especially that we must, and I do mean must, do everything we can to ensure the disease is not allowed to spread to high-risk populations like assisted living facilities. But it does mean that we must now shift our focus from dealing solely with COVID-19 to addressing the economic health of our region. And our economy, not only here in our region, but across the country, is sick, very sick. Nationally, over the past month, more than 22 million people have lost their jobs and filed for unemployment. Here in Tennessee, 325,000 of our neighbors have lost their livelihoods over that same period. These are not just numbers. Those are people who are suffering, people who are anxious, people who don't know what tomorrow will bring and how they will continue to provide for their families. Sadly, all of this happened through no fault of their own, and they deserve to get back to productive work as soon as possible. When we are looking at plans to reopen, we must keep in mind that the economy is not a machine that you can just turn off and then switch back on. A market economy is so complex that no one really understands all of it, the totality of each individual component and the relationships among those components. So be wary of plans that micromanage the economy. Guidelines and recommended best practices are one thing. Central planning is quite another. I am also concerned that as we get back to work, COVID-19 numbers will begin to trend up and there will be an outcry to implement strict restrictions again. I believe that would be a mistake. Yes, we should track the spread of the disease and do our best to mitigate it, but we have to realize that we are not going to completely eliminate COVID-19. In fact, I fear that an unintended consequence of the extreme restrictions we have in place will be that we experience a series of spikes and surges in COVID-19 cases every time we attempt to lift these restrictions. In other words, we will be living like this in some form or fashion for many months, perhaps even a year or more. This is not sustainable. I am very glad to see that around the country, more and more elected officials, including President Trump, recognize this and are implementing plans and policies to help restart the economy. As we make these plans, we must not forget to include the faith-based community. Churches are not only houses of worship, they're also employers, and they must have a place at the table when discussing reopening the economy. No matter what we do, we will be dealing with COVID-19 for a long time. We must be smart and measured and take a laser beam approach, protecting the highest at-risk populations while realizing that our economy and our civil liberties are important too. If we don't do that and continue the course we are on, we face an economic calamity and potentially a political one as well. Please remember to support local businesses as much as you can. This week I had Takeout Tuesday from Sam and Andy's in Fountain City, and Takeout Thursday featured chicken enchiladas from El Charro. Please don't forget about Storytime with the Mayor on the Knox County Mayor Glenn Jacobs Facebook page, as well as the Reed City USA Instagram. Check out Reed City USA's social media platforms so you'll know when to join me. Speaking of reading, Reed City USA is still zooming around the world in hopes of circling the globe 20 times in 2020. So far, we have accumulated 296,000 hours read as a community. You can help by visiting readcityusa.com, downloading the Beanstack Tracker app on your smartphone, and logging the time you spend reading. Until next Friday, I hope everyone has a great week.